hurt so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good.
What's up, Cinemaniacs? I'm back with the Cinemaniacs. That's right. Did Cinephiles last in the other episode? You know, that other show that those guys do? Those guys, they're not as cool as us. But we're back with episode number 1. That's right. Episode number 1. You see a different color. You see a different show. We're kind of using a little bit of the other show that we did a long time ago, where we talked about movies that we had you vote on. We talked about movies that we kind of alternate with. We're actually going to be incorporating something else as well, and that'll include you fans responding to us by email. So what we're going to start off with is I'm going to give you the co-host. That is Mr. Sir. What else can I call you? Mr. Sir, ma'am? Mr. Sir, Dr. Professor?
Hey, how about on this one, you just call me Chad Davis?
No way. You're Chadwick. You're Chadwick now. Chadwick forever.
Anyway, what's going on?
Yeah. So you just got back from Atlantic City, right?
Yeah, Atlantic City.
Yeah.
First time down there.
How are your pockets? Heavier or lighter?
They're a little bit heavier, actually.
Oh.
Made a big run on the last day. Yeah,
All right.
Feeling kind of good.
So we might be getting some new lights.
Actually, I haven't got the whole... I haven't got the whole bill for the trip yet, so I haven't really counted that into it yet. I think it's going to be a couple hundred. I don't even want to know about it, but it was a good time. We went down there for a bachelor party, and it was just 12 dudes hanging out and having fun.
So it's like Magic Mike.
Yeah, kind of like Magic Mike. We did a lot of dancing
one
down
more
there.
Blow up?
Yeah,
One more
no
blow
shirts
out
on. Yeah.
A lot of water on your feet.
Yeah.
Pretending like you're grinding things.
Yeah.
No?
I can't talk too much more about it, though.
What happens in Atlantic City stays in Atlantic City. That's a mouthful. Holy cow. All right. So we'll move on. I'm glad you had a good time in Atlantic City. That's cool that you went and didn't invite me.
No.
I wouldn't have been able to go anyway. I have kids.
At my next bachelor party.
Me and my son throwing craps.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. He can't like stay on the floor, but he can walk back and forth.
Keep him on a leash or something?
So yeah, you can have him walk back and forth, and every once in a while just grab the dice and throw it.
You can't get him a fake ID?
No, I can get him one. Definitely. He looks like he can pull off 21.
Oh, man. All right. So we're going to go into the movies that we kind of alternated back and forth. Last time we gave us, it was the Babadook. Chad gave for me, and I gave him True Lies, which was with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was not an impression. Don't worry. I was just saying his name funny.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off this week. We're also going to go into the movie that you guys voted on, and I am now 5 wins. And Chad has 2 wins. He won the first 2 and is in a landslide of a defeat.
I don't know why. I mean, I thought Van Wilder was going to pull this one off, and
I even posted a really good picture of him in a hot tub with the dog and the balls floating up. Like, that was great.
I don't.
My mom voted for your movie.
I don't understand. I mean, Super Troopers is a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but Van Wilder was, personally, I thought it was better. But apparently, the audience.
My mom thought it was better. She voted for your movie.
Well, your mom liked the dog. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think she saw the dog's balls.
She didn't get to see. She didn't get to see Ryan Reynolds run naked in the marathon.
Oh, that dog gets utilized in that movie too. She has no idea what she got herself into. But yeah, I don't think she even saw the balls of the dog floating in the water.
I've never eaten an eclair the same way ever in my life.
No, eclairs are out.
I still eat them. I
just more lovingly
I'm
now.
I'm just very picky about where I get them. I don't go to Petco to get them anymore.
I gotta save that. Go from the other show where it's eat a goddamn kid to I don't get my eclairs at Petco anymore. That is gonna be saved and archived. So yeah, we are gonna go through all those movies. The movie that won was Super Troopers, and we'll finish off with that movie, and then we'll we'll do all the alternating and the picks and all that kind of stuff for the next movies at the very end. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about The Babadook. I got to watch that. I finally watched it last night. And this is one of those movies that was very, critically acclaimed. This movie, a lot of critics loved. Mm-hmm. The audience that voted, the common viewer, I guess you would say, they were a little more on the fence, but it still got a 75% on them. But the ratings were definitely higher with critics.
Yeah.
I am kind of in between on them as far as everything goes. The movie itself was very twisted, very dark, not a horror movie. Like when I had seen the trailers and stuff like that, it was more looking like it might be a horror film. It's not a horror film. It is very much just like a psychological film and depressing film in my mind. I found it very depressing and it like almost watching someone and them slowly getting dementia. And it was very, very sad to watch. I thought the actors, I think the kid and the mom were both great in the movie.
The mom was awesome.
I thought even the lady who was next door who had Parkinson's in the movie, I thought she was really good.
How about the Babadook? He did good too.
The Babadook was like barely in it, but I mean, it was necessary in the film.
Yeah.
But that was part of the whole film. It was just sad for me. Like I finished the movie, and usually when I watch a horror movie, I need to watch something to kind of cleanse my movie palette. You know, I need to watch something a little more uplifting. This one, I had to. It was late, and I needed to go to bed. I had to watch something for at least 45 minutes to cleanse my palate because I was depressed. Yeah. I watched this. I have relatives that are going through dementia, and just thinking about like what is going on through her head, it was so incredibly it just rips at you from the inside. Yeah. It's very sad to see. And she did such a great job portraying it that you just felt so terrible, and you can see how such bad things can happen out of something like that. Yeah. And you, even the family members, and you don't even know, like her son in the movie kind of felt like he might kind of have dementia as well, and it was just really sad to see. So I'm not going to go too deep into this movie. I felt like if I go into it, I'll be just too many spoilers and stuff like that. It was really hard to watch, just not because it's scary, but just because it's just one of those kind of ripping at your insides, like kind of making you feel uncomfortable about how things are going, and and just how bad things can go with someone that has a mental illness like that. And it was really sad for me to watch. And that's probably why I'm going to have a lower score than most. Just because at the end, I thought it was a really well done movie. I was just really saddened by it. And it wasn't like a fun, sad movie. And it's kind of weird to say fun, sad, but like they have movies like Stepmom, like at the end, you're really depressed and stuff like that. But the movie was kind of good. It had uplifting moments. This one didn't really have that. This was just a slow burn of getting more and more depressed and trying to see her deal with it. And it was really sad. So if I'm going to, that's my kind of like overall view and review of the movie.
Short synopsis.
Rating of it, I'm going to go, I originally said 6. I had even rated it on Netflix I rated it, I think it was a 3 out of 5 or something like that. I'm going to say 6.5 because I thinking I'll do 7. I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7 because I think that the movie was really well done.
It's the first time director,
but I think that the actors did an amazing job. I even think that I think the son was really good. If I had to do a quote from the movie, it's just the Babadook, like, and that creepy way that he says it, like that was kind of cool. I mean, it sounded creepy. I mean, I think the Babadook himself wasn't as creepy. Yeah. It was, but everything before they actually kind of showed the Babadook, like, because they never really fully kind of showed the Babadook. Yeah. But before all that, like, it was really creepy when you heard that and when you heard the knocks on the door, and that was kind of creepy. But
I thought he was pretty cool looking too.
Yeah, and I would have to say that would be my quote from the movie, because in a movie like this, there's not a lot of quotes. I mean, you're when she's like, "Get away from my son," or "I'll fuck that girl," like that, like those kind of things. Like, I mean, but as far as the quote goes, I think that was like the most impactful. Yep. And my favorite character of the movie is the son.
Yeah, see, that wasn't my favorite character.
I thought, because you almost got two different versions of the son. You got the beginning where he was more loopy than his mother. Yeah. And as time went on, it kind of reversed roles. Yeah. You're kind of like, well, who's actually the one with more dementia, and who's like, what's going on here? Who's taking care of who? And I thought that was really well done. And I thought the son played a very good, like, annoying kid at the beginning, and bratty, and kind of, he had a mental illness. He has something, but you don't know if that's her picturing what he's doing. Like, you don't know what's actually going on. So I would have to say his portrayal, because I think as a kid actor, he held his own, if not, in my opinion, did better than the woman. And that is impressive to me. Because even when Tides Turned, I thought he did an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I thought that as far as characters go, that was him. I mean, do you have any quotes from this movie that you would?
I don't have any quotes. Just like the Babadook, like the whole Babadook thing.
It's a short movie, 90 minutes.
Yeah, my rating for the movie, it was one of my favorite movies from 2015. Mm-hmm. It's definitely top. I think it was in the top 5, maybe 6.
Yep.
I gave it an 8.5.
Okay.
I'm with the critics on this one. The professional critics on this one. I thought it was really well done, and the whole movie. If a movie can get me to sit there, and if it's not funny or if it's not scary and still have me on the edge of my seat, like what's going on here, like, and then there's like small little twists that end up being bigger twists at the end, and a movie that really gets you thinking at the end, like. That's the kind of movie that I like, and it really gets you thinking at the end of that movie, like, what is going on? What is the Babadook? What is going on in this lady's life? Like you said, like, is she the messed up one? Is he the messed up one?
Yeah, it was good.
You don't know. Like, it leaves it open. Like, Birdman left it open. That's why it was such a great movie, where when you walk out of the theater and you're walking with somebody and you talk about the movie, that's what makes a movie good. And that's what makes a movie good in that certain kind of way. A movie doesn't always have to end.
It gives you good discussion.
Exactly.
It can give you good discussion after the film.
It doesn't have to end.
That's what I thought that Chappie did well. I thought at the end of Chappie there was a lot of discussion to happen, and that's why I rated it as high as I did. I can't remember what exactly. I made like 6.5 or something like that. I thought that the movie itself, like, there was parts that weren't very good, but I thought that the discussion it led to afterwards increased my overall rating of the movie. And I think that this is the same deal. Like, I think that overall it got higher for me as it goes, because I'm thinking back on the great performances, the great direction, and how it, in a 90-minute movie, was a very well done. And it's not a horror film. And that's what you got to understand going into this, is that this isn't a horror film. This is more of the look inside of a person who has dementia or some kind of mental illness, and it's in their family. And it's a very sad way of how they're getting to that point, almost like. It was just a really kind of depressing movie.
Yeah, I watched it with my friend Liz, and I actually went into it thinking it was a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I would have if I didn't kind of research.
I didn't hear much about it. Like, I heard it was just a really good horror movie, and everybody kept on saying horror movie. I invited my friend Liz over. I was like, hey, it's on TV now, on VOD. Come over and watch it. She does not like horror movies at all. So, but I talked her into it, and she watched it, and she loved it too. Yeah. Like, it was just like the end of the movie, we were like, wow, that was a good movie. Like, there's not much you can say about the movie, except for it was a good movie. It was a good performances.
Do you think they'll ruin it with the Babadook too?
I don't think there will be a Babadook. They have a book out, dude. The book they sold. They kind of did it like a Indiegogo kind of thing. What's the other one called? GoFundMe.
Oh yeah.
They kind of did like a GoFundMe thing for the book, the actual pop-up book that was in the movie.
Fuck that.
And $100 for this book.
People fucking buying it.
Dude, sold out. It sold out. People love this fucking movie. Like,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. I almost bought one, but I couldn't see myself. Like, the book was actually the actual book from the movie. Like, it had pop-ups in it, and but they only sold like 1,000 of them or something like that. But it was $100 a pop, and they sold out like within a day, I think.
Wow.
People want this movie, that
impressive.
pop-up book. That pop-up book was creepy. The actual pop-up book was creepy.
Yeah.
In the movie itself.
But that was really creepy, especially the way that it was played throughout.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. Just in general, I mean, the movie, it does have a creepy vibe, but it's just more of it's
very psychological.
Yeah, you have to kind of just brace yourself before you watch it and get yourself mentally prepared.
So would you recommend this movie to?
I would, but I would just make sure. I mean, it's on
Netflix now.
I would make sure that people knew, like,
going into the movie
that if you want to see a good take on someone going through the stages of mental illness, like, watch this movie. Yeah. And that's what I would just want to prepare people, because I wouldn't want to say go see this because it's a good horror film. Yeah. It's not a horror film. It's just that's the biggest thing, is that I just want to make sure that you understand going in that it is mentally challenging. Like it definitely. I mean, if you're one of those people that just things just roll off your back, no matter how it goes, like, yeah, everybody.
See, it didn't hit me as hard as it hit you, obviously. I see you talking about it. And
I was sad. I was really sad.
I mean, I was sad, but I wasn't. I don't have any family members that have dementia, or it doesn't hit close to home like me, you know. So
there's no jump scares, nothing like that at all.
There's none.
I mean,
there's none.
It's very. I mean, there are some jump scare ish things, but there's not. It's not like. But that just happens just for, and it's more of like an effect for the movie.
But they did it wonderfully.
They did a good job. They did a very good job of it. It's not like that. This is just.
I'm waiting for more from them. I mean, from her, I think.
This movie was so critically acclaimed. They're gonna come out with another one. They'll do a Babadook too.
No,
I don't know if he will, but they will. They're doing all the Conjuring, and then they came out with Annabelle, and they get a hit. They want to do it.
I think he's gonna do another film, maybe in the same genre, but I don't think it's gonna be the Babadook 2. I don't think he is.
I don't know if he'll do it, but somebody will.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you know that they want to capitalize on the word of mouth success that Babadook had. They want to capitalize on that monetarily, and they did not make enough money off the first one to be able to really capitalize on that. So they're going to want to capitalize, and when they get to capitalize, that's usually when the movie goes to shit. So hopefully they don't ruin it with another one. All right, so we're going to move over to Chad's the movie I gave Chad, which is True Lies, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. Let's hear what you got to say about good old True Lies.
All right, James Cameron, you can't go wrong there. That's the one thing I thought. All right, this is a James Cameron movie. I can't go wrong here. I've heard other people tell me that it was a good movie.
Yep.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Most people can't go wrong there.
Most people, not you.
Not me. I'm not a big Arnold fan, so I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous about going in, but at the same time, I had a lot of people tell me that this movie was actually really good. So I was a little excited about seeing it. I mean, I like Jamie Lee Curtis. She's back in the day, she's very attractive. I love
Fish Called Wanda.
I love Tom Arnold, and any appearance that he's in, he's always awesome in it.
That's
great.
Okay.
He's just a really good cameo. No, he wasn't even a cameo in this. He was like an actual.
In Austin Powers, how funny was he? In Austin Powers?
Dude, awesome! You can't really go wrong with there. I mean, and then Bill Paxton. A lot of people don't realize how many movies this guy is in. Like, I looked him up on IMDb. I can't even list the amount of movies because it would take me the whole podcast to list the amount of movies that this guy is in. So you can't go wrong there, obviously. And you got Charlton Heston in it. You got a very, very, very young Eliza Dushku. She's the daughter.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I just blew my mind when I first saw her. Like,
holy cow!
I remember from.
I haven't seen it in such a long time, and I wanted to watch it because I want to be able to have a good discussion about it with you. And I looked on Netflix, nope. Vudu, nope. On demand, the only place that it was on demand is like the one thing that I don't have, which is Cinemax.
Yeah.
It's like the only one. As I looked everywhere, I thought I had it on DVD, but I must have had it on VHS back in the day.
Yeah.
And I gave away all my VHS tapes to an older person because who else has a VCR anymore? Yeah. But I was really bummed because I thought I had it. I was like, I don't even have to go out and look for it, buy it, have it, I'll watch it, and I couldn't. I was really sad. I thought Vudu had it like at least a couple of months ago. Yeah. I remember looking it up and thinking about watching it, but I got
Cinemax, so I was able to watch it for free. I didn't have to actually rent it this time.
That's good.
But yeah, when I first saw her on the screen, I'm looking at her. I'm like, I recognize that girl. She just looks really young. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's the chick from Bring It On. Like, I love Bring It On. Like, that's a great movie, by the way.
I love Bring It On.
I love that movie. But anyway, but she was in it, so it was good to see all these like really big names in there, and James Cameron directing it. I mean,
James Cameron's good.
Yeah. So basically, it was about Arnold. He was an undercover agent for an agency that nobody knew about or whatever.
Great title for the movie, True Lies.
Yeah.
I love that.
The whole movie is lies. Yeah. So basically, him and Jamie Lee Curtis are married. He's living this secret life that she doesn't know about, that he can't tell her about.
Right.
He they show some scenes where he can't show up for dinner, he can't show up for his birthday party, but it's Tom Arnold calling in and telling him, because he's supposed to be like a computer rep or something, selling computers, a salesman or whatever. And just all these like little scenes where, you know, you see the marriage kind of going on the weak side, you know, like
going a little south.
So he didn't make his birthday party for him and his daughter and his wife made cake for him and everything. He couldn't make it. He felt bad, so the next day shows up at the office. Walks around the corner. Who's on the phone? Jamie Lee Curtis with another dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to meet up. Oh, he messed him up. He's walking. A bus almost hits him. Walking out, he just has his head down, you know. Tom Arnold's like, you know, what's going on, buddy? Blah, blah, blah.
Don't go into any quotes. Don't go into any quotes.
Finally,
one of my quotes is a Tom Arnold quote.
Well, finally, Tom Arnold gets it out of him. My wife is cheating on me. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all. 3 wives I've had. All of them cheated on me. Come on, buddy. Let's go kill some people. We'll get over this, right? Yeah. So, this that led to this and that, and it ends up she wasn't cheating on him. She was just trying to help him out, help this random guy out, because he was like this. It was Bill Paxton. It was he was a car salesman who just pries on women and says that he's like this big famous agent and he's doing all these things and he's out of the newspaper. He's like, yeah, this was me, you know. Yeah. But really, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger doing it all. Mm-hmm. So pretty much it comes down to,
it's a nice action comedy movie.
Yeah, it just comes down to Schwarzenegger finds out and confronts her about it, and she tells him, you know, it wasn't anything like that, but he does it in a different way because he actually what is it called? Terrorizes him. Interrogates him. Yep. And she doesn't know it's him and this and that, and it comes down to all she wanted was a little bit more spice in her life because, you know,
they had a good scene in there where a little spice was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
The old radar went up on that scene. So it just, you know, it comes down to him tricking her into thinking that she's doing something exciting now. Yep. And in the end, it turns out bad and ends up being for real. And then at the end of the movie, she finds out he's a secret agent, and Elijah Dushku saves the day. Pretty much what it comes down to. Arnold doesn't even save the day.
I can't believe you didn't talk about him riding the horse on top of the building.
Well, no, that's going to be part of it. That was one of my favorite scenes. That was going to be one of my favorite scenes.
Oh, was it? Is it one of your favorite scenes?
Yeah, because that was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But it comes down to she saved the day, and the whole family is now secret agents at the end. You know, that's how the movie pretty much ends. That's a brief.
I would love to get a True Lies too. Like, that would be great. I would love to get one of those. But it's just, especially with their age now, that would be good. I think it could work out really well. Like, you know how like we were just talking in the last episode about Incredibles 2 and stuff like that. How 10 years later, I mean, this is like 20 years later. Like, what are they up to now? What is Elijah Dushku's character doing now? Is she like the main stud of the, you know, and what's going on? How is it all secretive now and all that kind of stuff? Is Jamie Lee Curtis totally retired? Or
well, it's not secretive anymore.
Yeah, I know, but like there has to be some kind of secret play in there to be True Lies, you know? Like, so it would be cool to see how that would play out.
So overall, I loved the movie. Yeah. I really liked it.
Oh, good.
It had all the action in it. It had all the comedy in it. I think Tom Arnold is what brought the comedy to the scene, though. I mean, every scene that he was in, he was just running his mouth and spitting out something funny. I mean, he was just funny. Favorite character-wise, it's very easy to go with Arnold Schwarzenegger here because it was simply probably his best performances he's ever had in any movie.
I told you he was good.
No,
you saw The Predator, right? Predator, that was another good performance. Commando is not a good performance. That's just a guilty pleasure movie. Guilty movie pleasure. That one was good. And what was the other one that he was really good in? He was actually good in Conan the Barbarian. The first one. Was it the Barbarian or the Destroyer? Conan, I think it was Conan the Barbarian. He was good in that first one, but he barely talked in it. Yeah. He didn't talk at all.
So, you could easily go with Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie. I'm going to go with Tom Arnold because I just loved him so much in this movie.
Yeah, I would have to say, yeah, for me
was
too.
Probably
Tom
one
Arnold.
of his better roles that he has had.
He's hilarious in
He's
this
just
movie.
wicked funny in this, and
he
I
is by
loved
far.
him. As far as quotes go, my quote is at very end of the movie. It's typical Arnold Schwarzenegger, like "Hasta la vista" kind of thing. It's they're in the big final fight scene, and Elijah Dushku is on the front of the plane. This is the funny part. He's driving a plane that he hasn't driven in 10 years. Mm-hmm. He's bumping in the cars, like Tom Arnold's like, everybody get out of the way. And then, the actual flight guy that's actually supposed to be flying the plane, he's like, hey, you haven't signed off on that. And Tom Arnold's like, I'll sign off on it. And he's like, don't worry, he hasn't driven in 10 years, but it's like a bike, he'll learn right off. And every time he bumps into something, he's like, sorry. So finally he gets the plane over to his daughter, because his daughter was kidnapped. Gets it over there, and she's hanging off this big giant crane thing, and fighting with the bad guy. I can't remember his name, but she has the key to the atom bomb, and won't give it to him. So finally, she fell down. She's hanging. Next thing you know, here comes Arnold, just floating up. Mm-hmm. Drop down. So she finally gets him into the plane, and the bad guy jumps up on top of the plane, and there's a machine gun sitting there that had fallen off. Mm-hmm. Grabs the machine gun. She's like, oh, he's right behind you. So he's looking around, like, what am I gonna do? Finally he punches him or whatever. Now he has remind you, he has one hand. He's not driving the plane at all. I don't know how the plane's floating or whatever. Yeah. Because he has one hand on Elijah Dushku and one hand punching the bad guy, just as like a punching bag. Yeah. That's right. So finally the guy falls off, and when he falls off, he falls down onto the missile, and he just turns around. And he's like, shit. Right? Yep. Arnold hits the button. He's like, you're fired.
You're fired.
Flies up. How he aimed this thing so it went through the building and hit the other helicopter is beyond me. I mean, the funniest scene of that whole thing is when Arnold first showed up. There was Tom Arnold called him in. Not Tom Arnold, but the other guy, the guy that was helping him, called him in. He's like, yeah, we got 21 on the 4th floor that no hostages. He's like, all right. So all the bad guys are sitting there doing whatever. Next thing you know, out of the back of the screen, you see, and then he just comes level in the airplane. Everyone's like, oh shit. And just he lights them all up in the airplane. It was great. It was a good action movie. What was your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is from Tom Arnold, and I think it was during that scene with him when they're talking about wives and women. You can't live with them, you can't kill them.
Definitely.
That is a great quote from Tom Arnold, because he is the comedy in that movie. I mean, you get the Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy from those lines, "You're fired."
Yeah, you're fired.
You get those lines, but Tom Arnold kills this role, and I would love to see that go to the next level in True Lies 2. Do it again. Let's see where they are now. I would love to see it. But
Jamie Lee Curtis said something funny too that surprised me, because she was like, when she first found
she's like, I married Rainbow.
Yeah, Rambo. I married Rambo.
Yeah, exactly. It's because that's funny due to the fact of how him and Stallone were always kind of back and forth in the action world.
All right, so if I had to give it a rating, I gave it a 7.5.
7.5.
7.5 out of 10.
All right.
It's definitely a guilty pleasure kind of movie, and it's definitely a popcorn movie where you're just sitting there and watching. It's nonstop action.
Yep.
Nonstop action.
Absolutely.
Of just Arnold.
It's fun.
Shooting everybody.
Yeah.
Never in a movie have I seen bad guys that can't shoot anybody. But yeah, he just turns around and shoots everybody. He doesn't aim.
You want to see that to a T? Watch Commando.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Talk about, he's everybody. It's by himself. He's taking out everybody, and nobody can hit him. Bombs are coming, and you see people you can see in the sand, the trampolines that people are bouncing off to fly out of the way and stuff. It's so horribly awesome. Oh my gosh. That's with, what's her face from, She was an 80s and 90s TV star. She's a big baseball fan. She was super famous back in the day. Still, Alicia, is that what her name is? Oh my God, it's gonna drive me nuts. She was in with Tony Danza on what's that TV show from the 80s?
Who's the boss?
Who's the boss? Yeah. What was the girl's
I can't
name?
remember her name.
Oh my God. Well, she's the kid in Commando. Oh my God, that's gonna drive me nuts. I can't think of her name.
So what was your rating for this movie?
For True Lies, from what I remember, I would give it probably an 8 out of 10. I mean, just because it's such a fun movie, and it's not just a fun movie, but it's like a super fun movie. Super fun, a lot of action, just keeps you a total popcorn flick. And it'd be like somewhere between 7.5 to 8 o'clock, 8, some one of those. That's where I would be giving my rating. But yeah, I do have to watch that again because I haven't seen it in several years, and I need to get my view on of that again because that movie's it's just a fun movie. Got to get some people, maybe throw some popcorn. Maybe you've seen it real recently. Could I watch that with Cam, 7-year-old? Is there? I mean, there's a one scene with Jamie Lee Curtis doing a little stripper dance.
That one out.
Yeah, I could do that.
But I guess other than that,
there's like no swearing.
I don't pay attention to swears and stuff, so I can't really honestly say if Tom Arnold throws in a couple.
I'll have to look on IMDb.
Yeah,
I would see it. Check the parent thing. The parent ratings, the whatever it's called.
The rating.
Yeah, they have a parent like what's going on.
I mean, it was rated R.
They tell you how many swear. Oh, then I can't. I haven't watched that.
There was blood in it and stuff. So I mean,
it's such a fun movie. I'll have to just watch that with my wife again.
I'm sure it's on TV sometimes. Maybe an edited version of it, like a TV version.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. All right, so we're gonna move on to the movie that you guys picked and gave me another victory. And I think we're gonna get into this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah, right now. So if there's anything else that we need to talk about right now, I would have to say that right now we have about I don't know. We have to talk about the review. We'll do a little review of it right now. We'll rate it right now, and maybe even quote it a little bit by saying meow. And so yeah, I mean, this movie is such a classic. I've watched it probably a total of 1.5 times over the last 2 days. Yeah. I kind of was listening to it again in the car. Yes, I do that sometimes. I just put the movie on and have them banter on in the background. And I was listening to the movie, and just listening to their lines is just so funny. So what we're going to do is we'll start off with kind of give it a little synopsis of the movie. If you haven't seen it, oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, you need to see it. This is one of the best cop funny movies ever made.
Yeah.
And it is such a funny movie. There's so many great characters. And this group is so awesome together. They have great chemistry. They're all goofballs, and they just own it.
Yeah.
And it's so great. So if you have not seen this movie, Super Troopers, starring the Broken Lizard group, you need to watch that now. Stop watching this and go and do that and then come back and revisit us afterwards.
Yeah, listen to us talk about it.
Oh, my God, because this movie is so funny. So if we're going to do a little review. I mean, it starts off right with a bang. That scene with the kids driving, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, yeah.
Right off the get-go, because these kids are just driving along, having a good time, and all of a sudden they're all like have all these drugs. They have mushrooms and weed and all that kind of stuff in their car, and not just a couple of joints. They have bags of weed and bags of mushrooms.
Yep.
They're going along. Cops are up on their ass, and they start freaking out. And they're like, oh, my God, we need to do something about this. And they give all the weed and the mushrooms to this one kid. Yep. And can you eat it all? Can you eat it all? He's like, all of this? He's like, yeah. And he pounds a bunch of mushrooms, pounds a bunch of weed, and then is just sitting there in the backseat. And then they come up with another bag of weed. And he's like, can you eat this too? And he's like, like, there's no freaking way. And the cop is just like trying to get him to finally pull over. Did it start off that quick? Or did he do that like where he blew by him? Like he ate all the weed, and then they blew by
saw
him.
him behind him.
Yeah, and then
they blew by him.
and he threw out the weed, the other weed. He
And
threw
they
it out
were
the window.
Yeah, and they were happy. They're like,
And he's like, "Oh my god, thank goodness they blew by. They must have been like a homicide or something." And then the best part is the kid that's in the passenger seat. He like, there's two parts to him. He leans back and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "you just ate $100 worth of weed and like $30 worth of mushrooms." He's like. And they're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the man." And then he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna need that $130 back." And when you get the time.
Yeah, when
and
you
he's
get the
like,
chance.
"Oh," and then the guy who was driving, he's like, "That's messed up, man. That's messed up." And of course.
And while they're pulled over,
and then he turns over and he goes, he's like, as they're driving off, he's like, "Man, he's lucky I didn't bring out my 9." And as soon as he goes, the car goes. And then rips back in reverse, and they because they're already pulled over.
Yeah, they're
at this
already
point.
pulled over.
And he ripped back in reverse, and he gets behind. The cop gets back behind him. He's like, "Pull over!" He's like, "We're already pulled over.
We can't pull over anymore, man."
Pull over anymore. And then they get back up, and he starts doing the whole thing over again. License and registration.
Yeah.
We already gave you license and registration. Oh my god!
Yeah, how fast you were going?
Yeah. 63. They repeat the whole thing. 65. You were going 63. Isn't this a 65? Yeah. Like, so great. He's like, "You know why we pulled you over?" He goes, "Why?" "Littering." And he pulls it up and he's holding the bag of weed. "Why else we pulled you over?" He goes, "Why?" "The reefer." I love the way he says that. Just every time he's like, "The reefer."
And then who blows by him?
Oh my god. And it's bad out of hell in a Miata. He's got this big long mullet wig on, bad out of hell, and oh my gosh, and it's so great. And he's like, "Mother of God." They all get in the car, chase after him. The kids with they finally get into the bar where the guy.
Oh no, they
runs
blew
in.
by the first guy that was sitting in the car with the dummy with the blow up doll.
Oh right, because he's fishing.
He's all fishing. He gets in the car and he has the doll halfway out the door.
He's got flip flops on.
Boom! Knocks out the freaking doll's head.
And they finally get to the bar, and they get in there, and it's Mac. He's just chilling out. He's like, "Hey guys!" They're all have their guns pulled and everything. He's like, "Hey, what's up? You want to do shots?" And they're all kind of like, "Yeah." And he just does 4 shots in a row. And the captain comes in, and he's like, "What's the captain's name? Is that Brian Cox?"
Brian Cox.
Yeah.
Yep.
He comes in and he's like, "Hey, what's going on here, everybody?" He's like, "Oh," he's pulling that shit again. He's like, "You guys gotta, stop fucking around so much," kind of. And he's like, and then one of the other guys is like, what kind of shoes are you wearing? He's wearing flip flops and from fishing and all. It's like so ridiculous and so awesome all at the same time.
Oh.
And then of course, to play a joke on these kids to teach them a lesson, they send out the guy who was just firing the guns and rode off in the Miata. Matt goes out there with his wig on. "Do you like going to Mexico? You want to go to Mexico?" Gets in the car and starts blowing around and going, and they're all like, "Oh!" But before he comes out, what's that kid doing? He's licking the thing. And he's like, "The snozberries taste like snozberries." Oh my god. And then Matt comes out. "Do you guys like Mexico?" Oh my gosh. And he's just doing donuts in the fucking thing, making them all sick.
And then
it
pops up
great.
Super Troopers.
Yeah. So it's a great start. I mean, there's so much in this movie, and that's how the movie plays out through the whole thing.
Yeah.
You get great
Scene
characters.
after scene
oh my gosh.
just.
So I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, I don't want to go in too much of this because we could talk about this movie forever, especially if we're going scene by scene, because every scene is hilarious.
Yeah, every scene.
Every scene in this movie is hilarious, and the banter back and forth. You have the time to pull. They pull over the what is it, Swedish guys,
the feather.
And they got that song. And he's like, "Do you know how fast you're driving?" He's too fast. He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm always driving. I'm used to driving on the autobahn." He's like, "No, I can't get another ticket. So is there something I can do for you, or maybe my wife? My wife can do for you. Do to you."
And we haven't even talked about the best part of the movie yet. We haven't even mentioned the best part of the movie yet.
Which is the best part?
The best character in the movie.
Farva. See, I like Farva. there's times I get annoyed with Farber, and I think it's supposed to happen, but
And
oh
you're
my
supposed to.
God. Oh my God.
The very first scene that he was kind of in, because you kind of see him as he is now demoted to the
radio.
The radio, all right?
Dispatch.
But when they have their first meeting, their team meeting,
Yep.
he comes in and he tries to play a practical joke on Rabbit. It was a bar
Rabbit
of soap,
is the
right?
new guy.
It had
He's
a
the
bar
rookie.
of soap in it. Or...
Yeah, he put a whole bar of soap in his freaking coffee.
And he's like, no, not that one.
Yeah, that
No,
one's-
not that one. That one. It has your name on it.
Yeah, that one's for Rabbit. And it's a freaking bar of soap. And he's like, oh, okay, thanks, Barba. But before that, and he's like in the back. He's like, yeah, I'll go get the coffees.
Yeah.
I'll go get the coffees. No problem. And he goes back. And then he's out there, and the captain's trying to do a big speech. And all of a sudden he pops in. Anybody want a cream? You guys want any creams? No? All right.
He had some really good quotes in that. But like what you said, he could get a little annoying at times.
Oh my gosh.
But at the same time, it just fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
he's so over the top. It's oh my Lord.
he was probably in the most famous scene from that movie with the liter of Coke. Everybody quotes
the
that
liter of
part.
cola.
A liter of cola.
Liter cola. Liter cola. Liter cola, you chicken fuckers.
Cheeseburger for a cop.
What does that mean? Does that mean you're gonna spit in my burger? Don't spit in that burger. Yeah. What else can I get you? He's like, if you want to upsize it to the next thing, it's a quarter. It's a quarter more. Only a quarter more. He's like, I don't want to spend another quarter. But it's only a quarter more. I don't want it. I said I don't want it. I'm not gonna spend another quarter. I'm done.
Fucking hole in it.
Yeah. He opens it up to him. Yeah, I'm gonna win $1 million right now. I'm gonna buy a car. And
That's what set him off, though. The spit in the burger didn't set him off. He ate it.
Sees the burger and he's like, "Does that look spit in the like spit in the burger?" And he's like, "Yeah." Ramathorn's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah," and he's looking at it. He's like, whatever. He starts eating it,
And then he opens up the Coke, and
there's a hole in it, and it just spews all.
And that's
on
when he
top.
goes off.
And then he goes. Not only does he go off,
Rogue.
but he goes and attacks the guy and like jumps over the counter and tackles him. Like it's so ridiculous, and gets suspended again.
But basically the whole movie is about it was the local cops versus the state cops.
Yes.
And they're always battling, and the local cop, the state cops, they were part of the local cops. They were in
Spursbury.
Spursbury
Police.
in Vermont. They were in what do you call it? They were being threatened to shut down the academy.
Oh, the highway patrol. They were
the
threatening
highway patrol. Yeah. They were in jeopardy of getting shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So they had all these funny scenes with the local cops, the Spursbury cops, and right from the very first scene where they met
when
up
they're in that diner.
in the diner.
And they're doing they're chugging the highway cops are chugging the maple syrup, and they finish all that, and that's a big joke that they do and all that kind of stuff. And then you see the local cops over in the corner. I can't remember what the cop's name is that stands up and says something to Mac. What he did was he threw one of the empty maple syrup bottles at him. Throws his hands, and the guy stands up. He's like, "Come on, man, you guys, what do you want to?" He's like, "Sit down." And the guy just sits down. And then as he's sitting down, another one, boom, comes and hits him in the head. And he's like, "What?" And that sets off a huge brawl in the thing in the diner, and it's hilarious because like you have one of the cops. I can't remember what his name is, but he's the one that kind of wants to date that other female cop from the local.
Redheaded, curly-headed guy, right?
Yeah, curly. I can't remember what his name is in the movie, but he is trying to woo her, and he's saying like the most ridiculous and stupid shit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's like, she gets a thing of pancakes, and she's like, "Oh, do you have any more maple syrup?" And then she's like, "No, we're all." The person that works at the diner's like, "No, we're all out." And then she looks over, and they drank like 4 bottles of maple syrup over there. And she's like, "Why can't they drink ketchup or something like that?" And of course, what he says, it's something like I would say if I was trying to pick up somebody. It'd be like, "Well, if they did ketchup, then you wouldn't be able to eat your hash browns. If you ordered hash browns." Like
Very awkward.
So
yeah.
awkward,
Yeah.
and he has no game whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I did like how later in the movie, how he tries to really woo her.
Oh, the trench coat.
Somebody naked outside of the building, and I don't know what to do. It's so gruesome. I can't even take it. He's not walking around. He's flashing everybody. It's so crazy. And then he goes back. He's like, "Oh, she's going in front of the building now." And of course, he's doing it in front of her police station.
Yeah.
And she's the radio. She's the dispatch there. So she's just sitting in the front and watching him go in front and flashing and then coming back and going, oh, it's so crazy. It's so bad. It's so, I can't take it. My eyes. And of course, she finally figures it out. It's him. And he goes out to flash again. And all of a sudden, there's a shotgun pushed up against his back. It's like, got this voice modulator on. He doesn't realize it. Like, spread them. Like, it's got this really deep voice, like, spread them. He's like, bend over and grab your toes. I'm going to butter your bread. And it's like doing it over and over again. Like, and then he finally figures it out and he looks around and it's her. And it's a pretty funny way how he finally gets her.
Yeah.
Much more game that way. That was a lot funnier.
Yeah.
But holy cow, yeah.
The pranks that were in this movie, like, just from the small pranks that they did when they were at the baseball game.
Oh my God!
And he sends the cotton candy over to the other team.
Oh,
the guy behind him is like, "Hey, can you move your cotton candy?
Eat it or put it down." He's like, then he goes over and he shoves it. He goes, "God damn it! How's the view from Sugar Heaven, bitch?"
Part of that whole scene I had another part with the relationship between the guy and the girl too, where she was going to get a hot dog or whatever, and he follows her.
Yeah.
And
gets a snow cone from her
because she had hit him earlier.
Mm-hmm. They had a big brawl,
and she goes, "Go on, hit
kicked his ass.
Hit me." Closes her eyes, and here comes a baseball,
a foul ball right into the face, and she thinks she actually got punched by him. Oh my gosh! Yeah, and then she goes back. She got this big bruise on her chin. So ridiculous.
Yeah,
and that's when the sugar heaven scene.
What was it? Team Ramrod.
Yes,
when he finally gets back on the scene.
Oh my God, he gets in there and he's like, and Farva goes to him. He's like, "Yeah, let's pop some Viagra and go issue tickets with major raging boners."
That was my quote. That was.
Was it?
Quote.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, he says that, and then Thorny responds with, Farva, only you can make a dark man blush, and no, we're not doing that.
And then he goes on to, that's what the whole scene where he goes on. He's like, well, I want to do one of these pranks that you guys do. He's like, I want to do the one, the one where you like say, who can say pussy the most? He's like, and then Ramathorn's like, it's not pussy. He's like, we kind of do it more like, it's called meow. It's the meow game.
Yeah.
It's like, who can say meow the most? And of course, Farva's like, that sounds so dumb. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't sound very good when you're trying to put it, which I have a feeling you got Ramathorn in the movie, probably, writing it down.
Yeah.
And then you have like the studio heads kind of looking at it being like, I don't think this is going to be very funny, but it plays out really funny in the movie. So I can see how they might have thrown that in there to kind of, make it seem kind of poke at itself, like poke at the studio heads. That kind of, I thought that was pretty clever. I like that.
So who was your favorite character in the movie?
Oh, my favorite character. I'm gonna have to go with Mac.
Yeah,
Mac is so good.
He was so crazy.
He's bananas. Like that scene where he's trying to catch people with radar.
Yeah,
and he freaking starts to jerk off to a fucking billboard that has lips. Like it's like this woman who has some lips, and that's it. And then he's jerking off, and of course he's got the gun out, and he's like getting cars that are going by like 38 miles an hour, 52 miles an hour, and like he's not doing anything about that, but he's still looking at the billboard, and then all of a sudden he points the gun down at his hand, and it's going doot 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 like 28 miles an hour, 36 miles. And then all of a sudden it's like it's like 62, 67 miles an hour. It's like holy shit, dude, what the fuck?
Oh man,
oh my God.
I would say it would be easy to go with Farver on this one.
Yeah, a
lot of people do like him in this movie.
He's funny.
I'm gonna go with Foster though. He's the one that was chasing the girl.
Yeah,
because
funny.
He was funny. He like because he was the most calm out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't the big prankster that everybody was. But that last scene, like you said, where he actually got the girl, like that was just a classic scene right there. He pulled out all the stops there. And
he did,
and he won.
I love that scene with Mac and Foster in they decided because Foster's door fell off the car. There's some wrench hooligans or whatever they call them. He's like, oh yeah, the wrench mafia that comes and takes doors off cars. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, okay. So they couldn't use their car. They had to go into a truck, so they were going to go undercover. They're all dressed in all these mullets and their hats and all that. The truckers, like Foster's in the car. You see, he's got the dumbest look on his face. He's like, And he's got this fucking all his hair, and like they rev it up, and they're like, and then it stalls out, and then they try and do it again, it stalls out, and then they switch, and now Foster's in the driver's seat and Max in the passenger seat, and he starts it up, and he's like ready to go, and it stalls out. So they couldn't do anything. But that scene, just the looks on their face, like you think they're gonna fall off, and it just keeps stalling.
Yeah,
so funny, so great.
The when Farver finally got back on the scene and was on his first like stop. It was a family van. It was a van of a family.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh man, I want to play one of these games that you guys are always talking about." And what's his name? The black guy, the black cop. He goes,
a Ramathorn.
Yeah, Ramathorn.
Yep.
There you go. He goes, what game do you want to play? Whatever he said, and he's like, I bet you can't say chicken fucker to this guy.
Yeah.
He goes,
He goes,
I'm not gonna say that.
No, he goes, he goes, you can't. And he's like, he's like, meow. He's like, I would say meow.
Yeah,
I'd say this. I'd say anything for $20. He's like, I call the guy a fucking chicken fucker. I call him a chicken fucker. And he goes over there, his license and registration. Chicken fucker. What the hell?
These guys are they're so goofy though, and just like the worst things happen to them, man. Like when they pulled over the trucker and they were playing the repeat game, just fucking around.
Oh my god!
And then he tells them, "Oh yeah, and there's nothing in there. Just get in there."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they jump in.
Shut the door. Yeah.
Shut the door.
And then when they open it up, smells like sex in here. Ramathorn opens it. Smells like sex in here.
Yeah, they're always getting in trouble. It was so funny to them. Mm-hmm. You took my favorite quote.
Go ahead, say it again.
No. I found a different one. It was it was actually when they were explaining to the captain that they didn't do anything wrong, and he kind of like laughs, whatever, and then he in an Irish accent, he goes, "I'll believe you when the shit turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet."
Fucking Farva says it at the end, and then he actually goes back to him and he goes, "Is that how I sound?" And they're like, "Yeah, actually, yeah, that's pretty good."
It's actually pretty spot on.
Yeah. Captain O'Hagan. Oh man, yeah. I'm gonna go into my actual quote is something that I use all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I say it constant. I say it probably, I don't know, a couple times a week almost, especially if my facial hair is growing in.
Yeah.
Who wants a mustache ride? me, I want a mustache ride. I want a mustache ride. Can I have a mustache ride? And they're both like jumping. I love that scene in that movie too, because all you see is the mother and father kind of talking about how he might get transferred and he wants her to come with them and she doesn't want to move because of her son. And all you see is like people jumping on a bed. Like you see kind of like off in the distance, a little blurry, jumping on the bed, and you're assuming that it's the kid.
Yeah.
And you're hearing like jumping on the bed, and he just turns. He's like, "Stop jumping on the bed," and they're kind of talking back and forth. They're not married, but they're together, and they're still talking and going on. And he's like, "This is not going about. Stop jumping on the bed." And then it pans over to them, and it's the couple that got arrested that were doing like the Swedish or Norwegian, whatever they are. That couple, they get arrested. And oh my gosh, it is so funny. That movie is. I wish we could have watched that together. We weren't able to watch that together this time. We've been like really busy lately. But holy crap, that movie is so
amazing what they
funny.
did on such a low budget. Like,
yes.
And with people that are not well known, like these characters came in, these actors came in, and they're not well known. I mean, Brian Cox is probably one of the most famous, but the other guys you've never seen. I mean, they're all in the whole like Club Dread like scenery kind of thing. I mean, Beer League and stuff like that. They've all been in those kind of movies.
Beer
but
Fest.
Beer Fest.
Beer League is
Beer
totally
League is different. Yeah, that's Artie Lang,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like that.
Beer Fest, far superior film.
I like them both.
Beer Fest was
is
amazing.
Pretty amazing.
That's my favorite movie by them.
Yeah,
I can watch that.
This is my favorite movie.
I can watch that movie over and over and over again.
All right, so if you had to give this a solid rating, comedy wise,
for a comedy, yep.
Just it's nothing else but a comedy. There's no drama in it.
There's a little action.
There's a little bit of a love scene, like a little relationship kind of thing going on.
But it's funny.
Even
it's
that,
made to play funny.
It's funny. Like it's straight up comedy. This movie. What would you rate it?
The more I watch this, the more I'm loving it. The more I'm talking about it. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. And I want to say, and as a side note, I'm glad they got all that crowdfunding money because I can't wait to see Super Troopers 2. Fuck everyone else for supporting them so they can make this movie. I wish they did it themselves, but I'm so glad you guys did it because now I get to see Super Troopers 2, and I cannot wait because I'm going to watch this movie again right before. I hope I will drive to New York if they do a back-to-back double feature of Super Troopers and Super Troopers 2.
I'm on the train with you.
I would love to do that. I cannot. I would love to make a beer fest too. Oh my god, these movies are so classic and so.
Yeah.
This movie got famous on DVD.
Oh yeah,
that's how it made its money.
Bombed in the theater.
Yeah, it did horrible.
And and it was pretty amazing to hear that too because I went opening night, and the place was packed.
Mm-hmm.
I just maybe nobody showed up after that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think it left the theater quick.
Yeah, it wasn't in the theater. It was a little indie. It's another indie film. I mean,
but oh my god, was it so funny?
Yeah,
so funny.
Definitely, if I had to rate it, it would be an 8.5 for me.
Yeah.
It's that funny. Rated R comedy. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite rated R comedies. I know you like the Wedding Crashers. Rated R.
Yeah. I think Wedding Crashers just is the best because it's like a real film. It has real story. I mean, this has a funny storyline.
Yeah.
But that's just almost like a real story.
A real movie that's
it's
rated,
a real movie that's hilarious.
Yeah. So I would give it an 8.5. Awesome movie. I'm glad we get to revisit it.
Yeah.
I just watched it recently.
We'll
last
have to
week.
We'll have to throw Van Wilder back in the.
I'm gonna be throwing that back in because that's a movie that we have to watch together.
Not this week, of course.
No. I'm gonna switch it up. Yeah. But I will be throwing it in.
Yeah. So Super Troopers, man. Oh man, that movie's funny.
So pretty. Let's move on. We'll see what movies we're gonna be having these guys vote on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
you won again, so you get the pick.
Yeah, well, I said I would go first. I said I would go first this time, and I'm gonna take it easy on you this week a little bit. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take it easy on you this week. I'm gonna pick a movie that is a classic, and it is awesome.
All right, so we're both going classics.
I mean, it's not that old, but
mine's old.
It's old enough.
All right,
it's old enough to be considered a classic in my opinion, and it is phenomenal. This movie is really good. I know everybody loves it. Ocean's 11.
Nice.
I am gonna pick that movie because that is such a great, funny heist movie. All the characters in it, great chemistry. The movie is just, I mean, it's anytime you get those characters and they are putting on good performances, and it's a heist movie. Oh, and granted, the 12 and 13 got a little more hokey, but they were still entertaining. This is where it all started.
Have you ever seen the original?
With the
Brat Pack?
No, I have not seen it. I haven't seen the whole thing. I saw, I think the probably the last third, the last act. I haven't seen the whole thing though. So it's, this, we're going to go with Ocean's 11.
Since you're going with that, I actually switched mine up.
Oh, don't do that.
Because I'm going to go with a movie that I think might give, no. This movie I don't think would win against most movies. And I really do want to watch it with you. Because it is probably it's in my top 5 movies of all time.
Whoa.
Get on the edge of your seat, and it has Matt Damon in it. So it's gonna be going head to head here, I think, and that's kind of a comedy, and this one's kind of a comedy too. It is serious, but it's a comedy. I'm gonna put it out. I'm gonna go with The Rounders.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go with The Rounders. Edward Norton.
I think that'll probably
Matt Damon. But I was thinking it couldn't win against these Wedding Crashers and Super Troopers. And
that is a really
is a really good.
That is a really cult following.
Top 5 movies.
That is a big cult following.
And it's funny. Edward Norton is hilarious in it, and you don't have to know poker to know the movie to really get into that movie. And I used to watch it almost every day before I went to go play poker.
So we're going with Casino on Casino, huh?
And that's why I went with it. I had to put it out there.
That'll be a good battle. I think that'll be good.
I
think Rounders is one of those that the casual fan isn't going to know what it is, but you're going to have, and they'll know what Ocean's 11. So that's probably where it is. Because I mean, people that follow sites like the Cinebros and stuff like that, they know their movies. They know their movies, and they are really in touch. Yeah. So they're gonna know Rounders. So
that's why I'm throwing that one out. I think this is a perfect time for that one. You put that on the table, and I saw Matt Damon, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to throw this one out here.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What was the other movie?
it was gonna be Young Frankenstein.
Oh, that's a good one too.
And I think that would have been I think that would have been a shoo-in.
I watched that probably probably less than that. Probably like 3 or 4 months ago.
I'm gonna save that one for a more competitive movie. I think.
All right.
Because I think that would have won pretty easily against this one.
You think so?
I think so.
think
Who
that's
knows?
gonna-
I mean,
yeah, that's
I've been
gonna
wrong
really-
fucking the last 5 times. So, who knows
I
what
think
these
you
guys
got
are gonna
this.
vote
I
on?
think you got this one. I think you got this one. The Rounders, I think, because we're posting it on such a movie buff site, like
Movie
you
buff
guys,
site, yeah.
like people really follow movie. I think people are gonna go with Rounders. I mean, you'll have people like my mom who loves George Clooney. I'm gonna get her vote this week.
Yeah.
I
get her vote. Normally.
You usually get her vote. You'll probably. I'll probably get the vote this week because she loves Clooney. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe she loves Matt Damon and Edward Norton a bit more. But yeah. So I got the movie right here, and now we'll exchange the movies that we're gonna do for each other.
Yeah.
And I'm going back and forth. I have 2 different kinds,
Mm-hmm.
2 different movies here, and I think I know which one I'm gonna go with. But I'll let you go first. You can hand me what
you're gonna let
movie-
me go first.
I'm gonna let you go first, and with what movie you're gonna give me to watch.
All right. So this movie, we talked about it last week or the week before. Maybe it was last week when we went to New York. We talked about it, and I honestly thought everybody had seen this movie. And like everybody, like all my friends have seen this movie, and they all love this movie. It's not going down in history as like one of the greatest comedies of all time, but the actor that's in it, it's his best movie. I mean, actual movie, I would think. He's been in other movies that were pretty decent, but this is his best performance. You said the fact that you didn't want to watch it was because of the material that was in it. I guess the material behind it, which I thought was totally wrong.
We talked about this during the podcast that we went to.
So I kind of thought it was the wrong idea of why you didn't want to watch this movie, because I think maybe you might see it portrayed in a different way, that they were kind of making fun of the kids and stuff, but they really weren't, and it's just funny. I'm gonna come out with it. It is gonna be it's gonna be The Ringer, Johnny Knoxville. I mean, this movie was so hilarious. I mean, it's nonstop laughs. It's actually it actually has like it hits your heart a little bit in this movie. Like, you wouldn't think it would, but it does, man. I'm going to give this to you.
All right.
And you're going to watch that movie, and you're going to come back, and you'll be like, I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get to watch this movie.
Well, I enjoy comedies, so that'll hopefully it'll make me laugh out loud hilarious.
I'm telling
like the Associated Press says.
You should laugh out loud hilariously, because it is funny. And the actors that are in this movie are phenomenal. Like, they do an awesome job, and they all have mental handicaps, and they're awesome. Like, they're so funny. You're gonna pick out. I already almost know what your favorite quote of the movie is gonna be, because like, seriously, the first time we watched it, me and my group of friends watched it, we paused the movie and went back and watched it again.
Wow.
Like, that one scene, like, we're like, did he just really say that?
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna give. This is actually a comedy too. Like, I'm not giving you something dark, and so you should.
Yes, that is something that I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
Because the dark movies do take its toll on me. I'm having a hard time with this decision. These 2 movies. I showed them to you before. I'm having a hard time which one I want to give to, because one of them is like a comic book character, and I think it's a comic book character that you'll like, because it's very dark. It's got a very compelling story. The other one is just a classic disturbing movie.
I like disturbing.
And you like that too, and that's why I picked these movies out. I figured that these 2 are both like right up your alley.
I'm kind of hoping you give me one or the other, because I think I know both of them. So
yeah,
because I hear a lot of people say quotes from one of the movies. So
squeal like a pig. All right, I'm gonna give you that one. I'm giving you Deliverance.
All right,
because you have not.
That was
seen
the one
Deliverance,
I want. Yeah.
And this is, that's probably Burt Reynolds in his best role. Like, he is a stud in that movie. Yeah, I think it's John Voight. I mean, there is so many, and it's a really fucked up movie. It's really
I've
fucked
heard it
up.
was.
It's really fucked up.
I like
The
it.
other movie that I was thinking about is, this is a movie you should watch, is V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
This is a comic book movie that is it's like into politics and kind of all that kind of stuff. And the story of it is like really well done. It's a dark movie. And I think that you would enjoy it a lot. You know, and I'll even give that to you
Yeah,
just
I'll watch it.
to watch it on your free time.
I'll watch it on my free time.
Because I think you should, if you get the chance to check it out, because I think you'll like it. It's a long movie, but it's just really well done. So check that one out. And but the other one, Deliverance, yeah, you're gonna the dueling banjos will never sound the same to you ever again. Oh man,
I'm looking forward to that movie. Right before, comment on the bottom of the video, like if you've seen these movies and how you feel about these movies, like how,
if you've
how
seen,
well we pick the movies
if
out.
you've seen anything, on these movies, definitely, comment. And what are your thoughts about Super Troopers? What are your thoughts about the Babadook and True Lies? What do you love them? Tell us what's your favorite quote?
Yeah, all
throw
these
them out
movies
there.
that we're picking. I mean, let us know if we're doing a good job picking them, because we want this podcast for
we want to
viewers.
entertain. We want to be able to entertain you and give you something to laugh. Like your car rides, we want them to be funny and having a good time. So let us know if these are movies that you enjoy. If do you not want to hear like us me be all sad at the beginning with a depressing movie? Do you like having the back and forth of being a little more serious and then getting into funny and all that kind of stuff? Because I really love like the movies that hurt so good, and that's what this is all about. But this is also about you guys. So if you want to hear that kind of stuff, just let us know in the comment section. You can let us know on Facebook. Let us know on at our email account at the cinebros@gmail.com. Please hit us up on Facebook. Post on our all that kind of stuff. Twitter, hit us up. And where can people find you on that? You
can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook, all at DJ Dizzle82, and you can find me on Snapchat, Sir Chadwick 82.
Yeah. And you can find me pretty much everywhere at the Cinebros. Twitter, Instagram, at the Cinebros, Snapchat, the Cinebros. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/thecinebros. And please, one thing that I can't stress enough is please click that subscribe button if you're listening to us and watching us on YouTube. If you're and the that thumbs up, we need those thumbs up. So that actually helps out a lot too. So I didn't realize how important those thumbs ups were, so I wasn't really talking about them, but those are super important. So if you're watching it on Facebook, please just give us that thumbs up. You're listening to us on iTunes, can you just go and take a few minutes out of your day and just head over and rate us and review us? That's pretty big for the podcast side of it. Our podcast numbers did go down a little bit the last time. I think that's just because we got a few reviews, so we were hitting more people. So if you guys can do that, take a little bit of time out of your day. I know it's a little pain, but we really appreciate it. The views, and I think Brad has sent one. I think my wife did one. She actually listens to the podcast every time she goes for a run. So that's really cool, and I'm glad that people are enjoying it. So, we're gonna be signing off here. All right, so we will sign off with a little quote-ish kind of stuff from the Super Troopers. Do you boys like Mexico?
See you later, chicken fuckers.
Yeah, we'll see you later, guys.
It's so